If our beauty standards aren't dependent on the historical context of Eurocentric beauty standards, then why don't we ever see people going in and getting nose implants to get their noses wider? Lately, it feels like everybody's been booking that flight to Turkey or to Mexico, wherever y'all are going, and getting that little nose snip, snip, chop, chop, and stapled down on the sides. And honestly, as a Black woman that has struggled with accepting her nose, I'm not falling for the hype. And y'all may be like, excuse me, ma'am, you're broke. You can't afford it.
Bankrupt, like no money on my card.
I could afford a little cruise down to Tijuana and get me a little snip, snip, cut. You don't know what I got? But I'm not falling for the hype, okay? Don't cancel me. I low-key feel like it's propaganda at this point, because the amount of Black women that I see with ethnic noses feeling like, oh, I don't like my nose, I want to change it, and always going for that slim, pointy nose. It's propaganda. I'm telling you it is.
They shutting down Dollar Tree, they is. I'm telling you they is. For real, they is.
It is. I'm telling you it is. And let's talk about why we shouldn't fall for it. Okay, so let's unpack this, because the conversation around our noses as Black women specifically didn't start with TikTok or Turkey. It goes way, way, way back. And I say Black women specifically because Black women and men have, a lot of similar features, whether it be broader noses. Really quick side note, I went on Google to look up broad noses, and tell me why almost all the searches were nose jobs. And it was the same when I looked up big nose. So why is it when you look up broad nose or big nose, you see nothing but nose jobs? Like, to me, that sends a very clear message as to how you should feel if you have a broad nose or a big nose. That is honestly really scary to me. Bigger lips, whatever. But this issue seems to affect Black women substantially more, obviously because the beauty industry is targeted to us, whatever. But I don't want to say that Black men don't struggle with their noses either. I just wanted to clarify that. Historically, wider noses, Black noses, were demonized. You see it in slavery era caricatures, film and television, and even beauty marketing that we've seen over the decades. Thinner noses were classy, they were feminine, they were soft, while wide noses were ugly, aggressive, and too ethnic. These messages have been spoon-fed to us since the day we were born. And listen, I know people are gonna say, well, I just don't like my nose. It doesn't have anything to do with what you're talking about in history and blah, blah, blah. Well, if our beauty standards aren't dependent on the historical context of Eurocentric beauty standards being placed over ethnic features, then why don't we ever see people going in and getting nose implants to get their noses wider? Why aren't we seeing people get surgeries to make their nostrils bigger? If it's not based on the Eurocentric beauty standard, why aren't we seeing that? And I'm not just talking about Black people, I'm talking about people in general, because Eurocentric beauty standards also affect white people. There's white people that also have ethnic noses or larger noses as well. It affects them as well, the same way patriarchy also affects men, So why don't I see people in general getting surgeries to make their noses bigger? Oh, okay. If we're gonna be going off to Turkey and getting our noses sliced up, then we need to be very honest with ourselves about why we don't like the fact that our noses are wide, our nostrils are big. We can't keep lying to ourselves at this point. It's a symptom of a deeper issue that needs to be discussed. Now, in the days of social media, especially TikTok really changed the game of social media, but we're seeing regular everyday people getting plastic surgery left, right, and center. Whether it be more extensive surgeries like a BBL, or even little minor nips and tweaks or injections like lip fillers and Botox, whatever, at a young age. Whereas procedures used to be very secretive and exclusive to celebrities and the rich, now they're a lot more accessible to everyday people, and we're seeing it on our For You pages like, we're going to the grocery store. And I do remember that video that went viral, I think maybe a month ago or so. And there was this young lady who went and got a nose job, and everybody on the internet was screaming because they felt like it was a botched job.
Hello guys, I wanted to show you my 5-week post-op nose reveal. This is what she's looking like from the front. This is her from the side. Other side. The nostrils, don't mind that thing in there. It's not a booger, it's just a stitch that still needs to dissolve. Overall, I am very happy with my nose and how she's turned out. Granted, she's still very swollen and the tip is still very high up, but as the weeks progress, it will drop. Again, this is it. This is her. I'm very happy.
It looks like she kind of went for that classic, like, you know, slimmer nose, pointy nose, whatever, but the nose was just way too pointed up and it was just like terrifying. And again, like, she's still in her healing journey, so you never know how it will heal. But this conversation, and then not too long after that, I saw that GloRilla got her nose, you know, done. It is just really raising something within me, because it legitimately feels like we're in this pressure cooker to conform to certain beauty standards. I mean, in my opinion, the features about us that make us unique are what make you beautiful. But as time is going on, I'm seeing more and more and more and more people, whether it's celebrities or everyday people, starting to conform into this one similar face. Everyone wants that slim, pointy nose, the really big lips, the really sculpted, like, pointy chin, like it's all like this same face, no matter like where you live or who you are. It's scary to me.
Have you ever wanted to look like a beauty filter? I know I can't be the only one. I want to talk about Instagram face. It's a look inspired by beauty filters on social media that aim to increase your conventional attractiveness. Gia Tolentino wrote about the age of the Instagram face in the New Yorker in 2019. She describes it as a young face, of course, with poreless skin, plump, high cheekbones, cat-like eyes, and long cartoonish lashes. It has a small, neat nose and full, lush lips. It's important to note that these filters are not a universal perception of beauty, but through the steady exposure and intimate use of these filters, you might unconsciously assimilate these filters into your mind as what beauty looks like to you. And at the very least, you may be drawn to your perceived imperfections in contrast to the filtered image.
And very specifically with the noses, because I feel like as Black people, there are certain features that to me are very distinct and unique, right? And having a big nose is one of them. But it also is one of those features that is the most demonized, probably outside of like having darker skin, for example. If you have really big lips, I mean, there was a time back in the day where it was like, oh my God, like, you got soup coolers, like, what's wrong with you? But now big lips are in and people love big lips. If you have big lips, people are like, oh my gosh, like, I want lips like yours. So that distinct feature about Black people really isn't demonized anymore. It's really the nose, skin, and hair that is constantly being attacked, and the nose is probably the one that I see talked about the least. We hear a lot about colorism, we hear a lot about texturism, we don't hear a lot about featurism, specifically in the nose region, and that's why I talk about it so much. GloRilla is a lighter skinned woman who could have easily benefited from pretty privilege, but she was born with a very wide nose, which doesn't really conform into that like light-skinned look aesthetic, along with her accent being very, you know, like, I don't even know, like visceral, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but she, despite being light-skinned, didn't really, in my opinion, get to like benefit or play into the light-skinned privilege as much as she would have if she had a slimmer nose and maybe like a softer voice, whatever. I kind of wanted to elaborate on what I meant by GloRilla doesn't necessarily get to benefit from pretty privilege in the same way that maybe other light-skinned women do. I feel like there's certain factors that play into the beauty standard, especially in the Black community. Obviously having lighter eyes, lighter skin, quote unquote softer hair, things like that are presented as being more feminine and more soft, whereas having the opposite, like darker skin, coarser hair, whatever are seen as more masculine in Black women. And I wanted to talk about like Rihanna really quickly because she obviously has a wider nose as well as a light-skinned woman, but she also does kind of have that benefit of having like the lighter eyes and the softer hair, which kind of checks off different boxes, and also has this kind of like foreign vibe about her because she is Caribbean and partially mixed on her father's side, I believe. And so one of the like ideal versions of light skin pretty privilege that we can see is Beyonce, for example. She's a light-skinned woman with light eyes. She also has a slimmer nose and kind of plays more into that look of pretty privilege, more so than someone like a GloRilla would. And despite her also having a more deeper raspy voice, maybe not as much as GloRilla, her and Rihanna kind of tick off more of those like light-skinned pretty privilege traits than GloRilla does, if that makes sense. That doesn't mean that GloRilla is any less beautiful than either of these women. Just in the eyes of society, also her being a rapper, she is just not able to play into the pretty privilege as much as these other women would be able to. Even when it comes to rappers, which is a more masculine, male-oriented sport, think about a Lotto, for example, who gets to play extremely into pretty privilege with that soft hair, light skin, light eye combo. And in my opinion, GloRilla going and getting a nose job was her trying to play into the beauty standard a bit, if that makes sense. I love GloRilla. I think she has a phenomenal voice. I loved her nose. I'm curious to see how her nose is gonna look, once it's fully healed, her new nose. But it does make me really, really sad that we had someone like GloRilla. I just mentioned her in my Featurism video. Maybe someone mentioned her in the comments and I was like, oh my gosh, she's a great example. So to see someone that has like this beautiful wide nose feel like, dang, I need to change it, is a sign that we're far from where we need to be. And it's not just GloRilla. There are millions of Black women that hate their nose because it's wide. I've never seen a Black woman with a naturally really slim nose be like, oh my God, I hate my nose, I need to go get a nose job. Or not just Black women, but any person with a slim nose. So it's like, it's really sad. And we have a lot of work to do. And I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna fight me on this. They're not gonna agree with me. And I understand that. But we have to understand that there are bigger forces every day, whether subliminal or just overt, that are telling us that we are not beautiful, our noses are not beautiful. And if you don't have a nose that looks like this or whatever, then you need to spend money in order to fix it, right? And that's a whole nother issue. People preying on our insecurities in order to get our money, I don't know, guys. It is propaganda and I'm not falling for it. I don't care how many days I wake up and look in the mirror and be like, what is this? I'm not falling for it. And if in the future I become a millionaire and y'all see me get a nose job, mind your business. No, I'm kidding. I won't do it. I highly doubt there would be anything in my mind that would change about this topic just because I'm so passionate about it. They want us to hate our noses. They want us to hate our skin. They want us to lighten our skin. They want us to straighten our hair. They want us to hate everything about us, so we're constantly going out and buying things. But not only that, they want to break us down mentally and not be proud of who we are as Black people, because our pride in ourselves is viewed as a weapon to them. I'm just saying, if we're constantly conforming into a look that just simply isn't us, then what does that say to the younger generations? How can you say, hey, I didn't like my wide nose, but you should like yours, little Sally? That doesn't work. But obviously, these are just opinions. These are just my opinions. And I would love to hear your opinions in the comment section down below. What did you think about this topic? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you disagree? Do you agree? I would love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, and if you liked the video, go ahead and like the video. And if you like the channel, want to support the channel, go and check out my Patreon. I mean, $3.99, cheaper than a Big Mac. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.